Okay, and then let's go on to the marriages one, which is actually part of the poll that we are running this morning. Let's just quickly see if we can bring up that poll. The question that we're asking our viewers this morning is what they believe could be informing these statistics that we are seeing when it comes to marriages. Let's just see if we can bring up that poll quickly. The poll speaks to marriages as well as marriages being divided into race, but specifically when it comes to black people. Well, according to Stats SA, less black Africans are getting married. What could be the reason behind this? Could it be financial hardships? Could it be times have changed? Could it be relationships are hard? 54% of the people saying that relationships are hard. Financial hardships at 36% and 10% saying that the times have changed. If you want to participate in the polls, just scan that QR code. It will then take you to the landing page. And Solly, I know that you say that Stats SA doesn't necessarily ask what could be the reason behind the numbers that we are seeing. But from a personal view, and maybe from some of the data that you have collected, what could be the reason why we're seeing about 54.8% of white people married, and then you compared that to your black African counterparts at 19.2%. And I was saying to the team a bit earlier on as well, that for me it almost seems that there's a correlation also between marriages and economic activity or even employment.
Thank you so much, Aldrin. I think I should also participate in your poll, and so that I can also give my But I think when we put together the chapter in this report where we wanted to understand the cultural dynamics of marriages in South Africa, we were fully aware that this is quite a complex, and it has a lot of, it's blended by diversity of ethnic tradition and religious practice. And we are very well aware that there's a modern influences into it. And to your point, there's also some social economic factors. And what we are trying to put in here and also trying to give the policymakers and especially also the researchers who are in this space is that we are seeing that over time, when you look at never married persons in South Africa, Africans, they recorded the highest, and the white population group recorded the lowest, as you have mentioned. And again, overlaying this with some other indicators that we are collecting, for example, you spoke about the economic indicators. Again, the white population, they are in terms of the percentage and even numbers, you will find that in terms of the employment rate is quite, employment rate is high compared to your black African where unemployment rate is high. Again, with the information that we also released around the income of households, similarly, again, we're seeing the same feature. But what we are also picking up, Aldrin, is that if you look at these numbers over time and then you look at the issue around staying together, which means that living together as husband and wife, I think loosely we call it fat and set. We are seeing that over time, these have actually increased in the population. We are seeing that it moves from in 1996, where it was sitting around 4.5%, and now it's moving to around 8%. So again, when you're profiling those who are living together as husband and wife or partners, the black population, they are in majority in that group. Maybe your survey that you are running this morning in terms of economic reason could be the reason. One could also conclude that probably yes, it's true, because we are aware that as a black Africans, for us to deem a marriage, there is a process that we follow in terms of lobola and also introducing families, which also come with a cost on its own. Whereas for white population and other population group in South Africa, they don't necessarily follow that path.
Yeah, and with that said, especially when it comes to with the lobola, so we know of the ceremonies that will be taking place, and then as the courts have said that once that ceremony has taken place, it is recognized as a marriage. But where would Stats SA get its data from if you don't have data around traditional marriages that would have taken place, but not necessarily registered with Home Affairs?
Yes, I think this is the tricky one, Aldrin, because the census is just asking them, it's about the marital status in the household. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be releasing a report that talks to the numbers that are coming from Home Affairs. Again, that data is just telling us the number of marriages that is being registered in that particular year. In this case, it will be for 2024. If I went through a ceremony as you are mentioning it, but I didn't register it with Home Affairs. Unfortunately, that marriage, it won't be registered in that database. So when we are releasing, that's where the gap comes in. And hence, there is always the data that we are releasing, as I said, next week. There is a late registration that one can actually look at it and see what could be the reason why there was a late registration of marriages. So it will give us some little bit of a proxy insight in terms of the tradition or traditional weddings that were never registered, but later they were registered because of either a partner passed away and now the other partner want to claim for estate, and then they needed to register the marriage.